Thank you for clicking on this video. The crystal ballroom of the Metropolitan Tower gleamed with golden light from its signature Art Deco chandeliers, each fixture worth more than most people's cars and casting intricate shadows across the polished marble floors. Dad had spared no expense for his 60th birthday celebration, transforming the city's most prestigious event space into something worthy of a royal reception. White roses cascaded from towering centerpieces at every table, and a live jazz quartet played sophisticated melodies that floated through conversations peppered with the confident laughter of the city's elite. I stood quietly near the massive windows that offered a breathtaking view of the city skyline 30 floors below, watching the celebration unfold around me like a scene from a movie I wasn't really part of. The guest list read like a who's who of the metropolitan area's most successful residents: prominent attorneys, influential politicians, wealthy real estate developers, and old money families whose names appeared on hospital wings and university buildings. Dad commanded the center of attention in his custom-tailored midnight blue tuxedo. His silver hair perfectly styled and his confident smile reflected the satisfaction of a man who had built an empire from nothing. At 60, Vincent Castellano still possessed the kind of magnetic presence that made other powerful men seek his counsel. Surrounded by congratulations and admiration from 200 of his closest associates, he was absolutely in his element. When Dad raised his voice to speak about legacy and dynasty, the entire ballroom quieted. His pride centered on Marcus, my older half-brother, whom he praised as the true heir expanding Castellano properties. Marcus basked in the recognition. Sophia, his wife, radiated satisfaction, and Patricia, my stepmother, looked every inch the polished queen at his side. Then Dad's gaze turned toward me. The warmth in his voice drained instantly. He spoke my name, Natalie, in a tone heavy with disappointment. In front of 200 guests, he dismissed me as a failure, mocked my small apartment, my old car, and called my independent investment projects meaningless. Murmurs filled the room, and Patricia's eyes gleamed with satisfaction as my humiliation unfolded. I stood, calm yet firm, and tried to speak, but Dad silenced me. When I insisted, he called for security to remove me from his birthday party. The ballroom fell utterly silent as a uniformed guard approached. But what happened next turned the entire night upside down. The guard asked, "Are you Miss Natalie Castellano?" When I confirmed, his demeanor shifted into deference. "Ma'am, my apologies. You are the building owner. You're listed as the primary contact for all security matters in the Metropolitan Tower." Gasps rippled through the room. Dad's face transformed from confident to horrified. I revealed the truth. 18 months ago, I had purchased the Metropolitan Tower for $247 million in cash through my investment company, Meridian Holdings. And that wasn't all. I showed them my full portfolio. 12 commercial properties across the city, valued at $437 million. Properties that included the Harrison Center, Dad's main offices, the Riverside Complex, Marcus's home, and the Waterfront Towers, Patricia's spa. My family, who had dismissed me for years, were essentially my tenants. The reversal of power was absolute. The ballroom was frozen in silence, the weight of my revelation hanging heavy in the air. Patricia's complexion drained of color. Marcus stared at my phone in stunned disbelief, and my father, the man who had always thrived on control, looked utterly shaken. For the first time in his life, Vincent Castellano had no words. I spoke with calm authority. I explained how Grandma Castellano's $2 million trust fund had been my seed capital at 18. I described how I reinvested every profit, leveraged opportunities others ignored, and built an empire brick by brick. I reminded them that each time I had tried to share my progress, I'd been silenced, dismissed, or mocked. So I had chosen to let the numbers speak for me. Sandra, the building manager, soon entered the room. With professional courtesy, she greeted me as the building's owner. I formally introduced my family to her, not as relatives but as tenants. The irony was impossible to miss. Around the room, whispers gave way to admiration. Influential guests, the same ones who had nodded at my father minutes earlier, now gravitated toward me. Developers, city officials, and directors of major institutions approached with respect, eager to discuss future partnerships. The narrative had shifted completely. I was no longer the overlooked daughter. I was the property magnate everyone wanted to know. Later, my father pulled me aside. His once commanding voice was quiet, almost fragile. "Natalie," he admitted, "I owe you far more than an apology. I was wrong about you, about everything." For a moment I simply studied him. This proud man, who had never admitted weakness, now stood humbled. I gave him a small smile. "We can start over," I told him. "But this time, as equals." Even Marcus approached me. Gone was the arrogance in his voice. He asked if we might work together. I handed him my business card but added one condition. My junior analysts start at the entry level, no matter what their last name is. For the first time, my brother simply nodded in agreement. As the night drew to a close, my father stood once again to address the room. But this time, his voice carried something it never had before: humility. "Earlier tonight," he confessed, "I said Natalie had disappointed me. I was wrong. She hasn't disappointed me, she has amazed me. While I've been busy building a business, my daughter has built an empire." Thunderous applause filled the ballroom. And for the first time in years I felt truly recognized. Not as a failure, not as a shadow, but as the equal, if not the successor, to the man who had doubted me most. The next morning, 3 major developers called with partnership offers. My father, now my advisor rather than my judge, helped me schedule the meetings. And in that moment, I understood a truth deeper than any revenge. Real power doesn't come from proving people wrong. It comes from turning respect into legacy, even if you have to own the building to earn it.
Thanks for watching PastQuest. If you enjoyed the journey into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the past. See you in the next quest.